to WNOV 860 AM 106.5 The Voice, bringing you the latest on Milwaukee's culinary scene. And shout out to everyone who was tuned in on the radio, on YouTube, and live on Facebook. How y'all doing? We're going to wave to the cameras right there and right there. As a reminder, if you want to chime in and if you want to talk to our guests, call us at 414-444-5250. I'm smiling. It's sunny out. It's a great day. How y'all feeling?
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Fantastic. I am joined today by two industry vets that I adore so much. Hyacinth Nimhard of Concoctions and Tropic MKE, and Chef Deborah Spriggs Ross of Expressively Your Personal Chef Service. Two of my favorite people. So I got an icebreaker because sometimes I do an icebreaker at the end of the show, but I want to open it up. It's sunny. We got smiles. It's a good day. So let's do something fun.
Let's do it.
All right. So I got a question. Do you like to combine foods on your plate, or do you like to keep everything separate when you eat it?
Well, all the food is on the plate.
Hmm?
All the food is on.
So
the
when you
plate.
eat it on a fork, are you picking up multiple foods at once?
No,
or
I
are
eat
you
very
eating
late. I
separate?
eat very ladylike.
Very ladylike.
Yeah, like one at a time.
Okay. Look at Hyacinth.
Me, on the other hand, I'm shoveling through whatever. I mean, it depends. It's whatever tastes good. If it goes together, I might mix it together. There's some things like I don't like my coleslaw in with my mashed potatoes. You know, like I wouldn't let those things touch. But there's other like greens and candy yams. Yes, those things can get on the fork together.
Yep. All right. All right. All right. So a plate of tiny tacos or a plate of sushi?
Tiny tacos.
Tiny tacos.
Sushi without any shrimp or lobster or crab.
Well, just eliminate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah,
just rice.
Just the rice.
Okay.
Little vegetables.
So ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup. It depends.
I'm a mustard for me.
Brown or yellow?
Brown.
Same.
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last one. What's something you cannot cook?
I can't bake.
Oh, I can't bake.
So
either.
don't give me anything to bake because I'm too all over the place. I'm not about to take the time to measure. It's going to come out deflated and lopsided. So I can cook. I feel I can cook anything, but baking, absolutely not.
What about you, Chef?
I can cook pretty much everything.
You can cook everything?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
So I'm going to be inspired.
Inspired?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can bake.
Oh, I know.
We know.
We know. You want to answer one of these, Devo? Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup.
What's something you can't cook well?
I don't know. I'm pretty good at
Men
whatever I
typically
set
cook.
my hand to.
Really?
Yeah. I do it all.
I don't know. Do we need to have the wife call in?
The grill. I got the double basket restaurant deep fryers. I gets into it. This is what I do.
All right.
Okay.
I need to have you on this side one day then.
We'll do this. I do have a trophy. I did win the barbecue cook-off.
Oh, when was that?
It was a few alcoholics that got together.
Okay.
No, you ever heard of Baby Back Willie?
Baby Back Willie.
He caters and does a lot of stuff around
Have
town.
y'all?
I took him
No.
out. I took him down.
Took him down.
Okay.
All right.
I like that name though, Baby Back Willie.
Right.
Sound
Got
like
a ring
he can do
to
something.
It sound like he mean on the grill, actually. All right. Well, I want to learn. I want to share. I want the listeners to learn a little bit about you all. Hyacinth, you want to kick us off with your introduction? Tell us about your background, your journey, and all the things.
So, Hyacinth Nimhard, owner of Tropic and Concoctions. Concoctions, that's my baby. That's what most people know me from. I started Concoctions many years ago. I was a new homeowner. I really wanted to entertain at home, and I felt like I wanted to make restaurant quality drinks at home. So I kind of got into that, and the rest is history. Tropic chose me. I wasn't looking for that. It came to me, and I said, okay, well, this isn't Concoctions. This isn't the Concoctions brand, but I could do something else here. So Jamaican inspired lounge, jerk wings, rum punch. My father's Jamaican, so I grew up eating and watching him cook all those things and making his rum punch and putting the 100 proof Jamaican rum on the bottom of our foot bottom. Okay, Jamaicans don't say the bottom of your feet; it's your foot bottom.
Okay.
That's how we got cured as children when we were sick. So yeah, just bringing a lot of those flavors to Tropic. And what else did you ask me? I'm sorry, I feel like it was a 2-part question. Did I leave out
Yeah,
something?
just your journey and how you got started and where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the journey. I mean,
Mhm.
really, it was funny. Somebody brought it to my attention the other day and they were like, you always love to entertain and cook. And
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, I guess I did fall
Mhm.
into line with, something that I love to do naturally because
Mhm.
that was my thing. When I was a homeowner, I was really big into, tasting parties and
Mhm.
just opening my friends up to new flavors and things of that nature. So yeah, here we are now today.
And you're from New York.
Yes.
When did you move to Milwaukee?
Oh, so I was 80, born in 80. So it was about 90. I
Okay.
came here from the Bronx. It's funny. One of my first memories of Milwaukee is this street, right where we are right now.
Really?
Yes, we did everything on Capitol Drive. That's the only street my parents knew. So everything we
Wow.
did was on
Mhm.
up and down Capitol Drive, and I just
Mhm.
remember this area very distinctly. We lived right on 12th and Capitol. It was the first house we moved into when we moved here.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. So it wasn't always concoctions and Tropic. What was your journey and your career path before you got into these two?
Oh, trash, honey, trash.
Trash.
That career path was trash. No, let me stop.
So this wasn't always a dream, or
What?
what was it always your goal? Were you on a different path as far as like maybe education
In my
or?
career?
Hmm.
No, so see, career was just survival.
Okay.
My career, I don't even like to talk about it. I look back on it and I feel like, man, what a waste of time.
Hmm.
In corporate America, can I speak freely in this place?
Yeah.
Okay. With the others who didn't
Hmm.
want me there,
Hmm.
one of the only people of color in that position, but um, it was a not a good situation for me. And so many times I look back on that, guy was trying to say, get out. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay.
Hmm.
I'm gonna do both. God was like, no, you ain't. So I'm not gonna say it wasn't things that I learned there, because there were very much, uh, foundational business things that I learned to do
Hmm.
and not to do, how I was treated, how I didn't want to be treated. So I wouldn't say
Hmm.
it was for nothing, but that career path was trash. I was strictly trying to pay the bills. I was a
Hmm.
young mother. I had my daughter at 17. So, I was just in survival mode. And,
Hmm.
luckily when I got into radio, that's when I really kind of started to find my passion in that space. But that was such a small little portion of my life.
Hmm.
The corporate America was just suffocating me in so many
Hmm.
ways, and I'm just so thankful that God pushed me out of there.
Yeah. So what inspired your passion for concoctions? Because I know concoctions came first. Where did that passion and inspiration come from?
You are so cute, Samantha. I just love you.
What?
No, I mean that. I'm not being. I'm just looking at you. I
Oh,
miss you. I haven't seen you in so
I
long. I
know.
love
We got
you.
to do better.
um, sorry, I digress. Let me get what you said. You talking about some what now? What you asking?
We was talking about
Oh
you
my
loving
God,
me and me
and how
being
wonderful
nice.
you are. Yes.
I
Um,
asked what inspired your passion for, hospitality and getting into
mhm.
concoctions and bringing that all together to fruition.
So very early on, some of my first memories of my parents entertaining. They were very big
Mm,
entertainers, in-home entertainers. It was a big deal when mommy and daddy had a party.
mm,
We're up early. We had to get up and dust off all the bottom foot pieces where you put your feet on in the chair. We had to dust that stuff or clean the house. And then when the guests came, we had to go back. Ooh, Lord, almost forgot where I was at. I almost said a curse word. We had to go
thank
sit.
you.
We had to go sit down, But
Hmm.
it was a big production. Daddy would go to the liquor store and come home with these big boxes. And I remember going to Cachet. Remember Cachet? And
Yeah,
what's the mall? Northridge. Which one was it?
it
Come on,
was
Chef. I know
North.
you know that
I'm
store.
a
What
Chi-Town girl.
Cachet? It was one of them malls.
I
But
think
I
it
remember
was
going there, and
Northridge.
my mother would get a big, sequence dress, and
Hmm.
it was a big deal when my parents
Hmm.
entertained. So it's funny, I never really made that correlation until somebody said that to me the other day, and I really didn't
Hmm.
even think about it until you just asked me
Yeah,
that. Like some of my very early memories are of my parents entertaining. So I
yeah.
guess it was
Oh.
just in me in some way. I like people to feel good. I like people to feel taken care of. I like people to
Mhm.
feel like I'm anticipating their needs.
Hmm.
So I think that's my mother was very much like that.
Yeah. Do you remember one of the first drinks you made?
One of the first, yes. Oh, it's so stupid, because it's so basic. And most people, you probably know, Chef. I know Chef is gonna know what it is. A Cure Royale.
Oh.
I never forget the first time I went into a liquor store, and this one I was like, we got to do better with these liquor stores. I went to a liquor store. I was watching a show, and Barefoot Contessa on Food Network.
Oh
I
my
love her. I
God.
love the way she entertains. And she was making a
She was
brunch,
so classy.
isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And she was making a drink called a Cure Royale, and I'm like, I've always been a little bougie. I like bougie stuff. So I was like, that's fancy. I want that. I went to the liquor store. I'm like, y'all got some cassis? They was like, a who? A Kahoo? Yeah, it was. They knew nothing about it. So for me, I was just like, I can't be the only one that wants to have a good drink at home. So that's really how Concoctions was born. Just it came out of the need for me entertaining at home, and I wanted to go to the liquor store and make restaurant quality drinks at home. But the liquor store didn't know anything about it. So Concoction started as a liquor store with the bar inside. We did drinks to go on 19th Silver Spring. That's how it started. Did you know that?
No.
You didn't know that? Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Thanks. Did you do like one of those satellite where you would set up that party?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People used to hire me to come in their houses and do bar. Yeah. So this ain't, people look now and they think, oh, no, this has been a long time. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, thank you for keeping me honest. You got the chronologicals down. Yeah, that was that. I mean, you filled in all the black. Was it? That was exactly what happened.
Nice.
Wow.
So your daughter works very closely with you. What how is that business relationship? She's so sweet. I love Aaliyah.
Yeah, she's sweet. It's a blessing and a curse.
And I asked because like I've had husband and wives on here together, and I haven't had mother daughter partnerships in business yet. So I'm like, I want to ask.
So I mean, full transparency is not easy. She's given me some really hard feedback, and we've had to have some very hard conversations. And one of those things are all you talk about is business.
Right.
And, honestly, my reaction to that was, that's what we involved in. That's what we doing. That's what we talking about. And when I took a step back, I was like, wow, this is kind of like a cry. She's like kind of like her cry for her mother. And I felt really bad about that. I still do. I mean, it is a conscious effort that I have to make to not always talk to her about business. And then, of course, there's the attitude, when we're in the moment. Sometimes I think she forget who I am. We haven't had a blow up in front of customers yet, thank God. Where's some wood at? Knock on wood.
And you won't.
We have not had that. We've had it in the back, but we haven't had it in front of customers. And it's great to be able to, lead with her each and every day and show her things and, build and pour into her in that way. But it is not easy. I'm still learning. I know I'm not hitting it right yet because I know all I do talk about and care about is business. And I try very hard and we live together too. So now you got that dynamic. So, I mean, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm working. I'm not me yet.
So how do you divvy up responsibilities? Is there anything specific that she focuses on a day-to-day that really just supports the business?
Yeah, so she's responsible for all the hiring. She's responsible for the ordering. We talk about it, but she really is, she oversees all my ordering, the training. Drink creation, she's really passionate about that. So I've tried to step back from that because that's something I also like to do. So I'm trying to just let her do more of that. And then recently I asked her to start helping me with some other things, like there would just be office stuff that I'm like, listen, I got a long list of phone calls. I don't got time to do this. And I was surprised because I gave it to her about 2 months now, about 2 months ago. And And I had said to her, like, wow, thank you so much. Those making those calls really takes a lot off my plate. That was like 2 hours of phone calls that I didn't have to make, just little, random stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, Ma, I don't mind doing that. And I was surprised by that. I thought she's gonna be like, I ain't gonna be your secretary,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm glad. I feel like now we have more of a healthy balance where she fully understands what she's doing, and I'm staying out of her way, so to speak, and letting her do it.
I love that. So you have concoctions, Tropic. How do you balance the responsibilities of both entities that are running at the same time throughout the day and throughout the week and keep yourself together? I know that's a lot.
I don't know. There is no real answer for that because every day is different. I feel like every day I wake up is a surprise. As much as I'm a planner and I try to keep things situated, I learned that in my life it just does not, and I just have become okay with that. I just have accepted that this is what it is. But I try to separate by day, because I found that when I was trying to be something to both businesses each day, it just did not work that way. So Tuesday is an office day, and I work really on both. It's like my administrative day. I stay at home, I'm on my computer, I'm doing that. Wednesday is concoction, so I'm there, I'm focused on those activities, social media stuff, training, checking in with my team there, ordering. And then Thursday is Tropic, Friday is Tropic. Saturday, I usually try to split between both. And then Sunday is both.
Okay.
And then Monday is, my self-care Monday.
Yeah, your self-care Monday. Yes. Shout out to the self-care Monday. So I think I just lost my train of thought. I was gonna ask you. Oh, I was gonna ask how many staff members do you have between both entities?
12
Okay.
between both.
Nice. And are you still growing? And do you have a goal to be? What does fully staffed look like for you? What number is that? Or what areas are you trying to fulfill with employment?
Fully staffed at Tropic is a little harder, just because people have different availabilities. You have certain times where people want more hours and certain times when they don't. That's a little more tricky for me. As long as I know my daughter is there, as long as I know my cook is in position, because that's a big thing. If that's not there, it totally disrupts everything in my world. But yeah, I just at Tropic, I feel like the staffing really isn't an issue there, because we have enough seasoned people there, where I'm confident. Like I would like a couple more people to the team, but we have such a tight knit family there. It's hard because sometimes people just don't fit the culture. And for me, I hire for the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can teach you everything. I can't teach you how to be, you know, to have a good work ethic. I can't teach you how to gel with the rest of this team that we've worked so hard to build. So, that's a little bit harder. And then we do have a young lady on our team at Tropic. She's been with me a long time. She does our social media stuff, which is great to have somebody on site in house that does that, because she knows the culture. She knows me well. She knows how I like things. So I don't have to like spend so much time trying to explain that to somebody else.
Right.
So Tropic, I would say like 2 more people. And then, I would like to have another cook. But that's hard. Cooks, no. Nobody prepared me for that.
Yeah. You get back there in that kitchen too.
That's what happens when I don't have somebody.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying like that's not easy. Cook is a very hard position to fill.
Yeah. And then how many, I don't know if you said this, how many staff members are at Concoction?
One. It's one. I wouldn't like it to be that way. But again, I really believe in taking my time to hire the right people. I mean, when I put it out there, do everybody want a job? Absolutely. But I know, I've gotten really good at sizing up people, and I won't even waste my time. The time it takes to train somebody, so right now, like I get in there when it's, when we have busy seasons, we had, Valentine's Day, and I'm in there, and I don't mind it because it's a great opportunity for me to kind of see what's working, what's not, to kind of, see exactly what my team deals with in a on a daily basis.
Right.
So I like to be able to be in the trenches with my team at certain times. Not all the time, but certain times.
Yeah. I want to know, what do you enjoy the most about working in the hospitality industry?
I like seeing people happy. I like seeing people's reaction when they eat or drink something. I like when people, I think the biggest compliment that someone can give me is when they say, man, I just love the energy in here. Because that's not something you can fake. That's not something that you can gimmick. It's just,
Right.
it is or it isn't, so that's what I love the most about it. And I love taking things that are in my head and making it something tangible for other people, so that is really it for me. Like, just thinking about the ideas and the creative process and having it materialize into something, that's huge for me. That's where I get my satisfaction from.
Right. So tell me about your experience. Actually, tell me how you stay competitive in both. Actually, sorry. I wanted to ask, at Concoctions, you are also doing, what is it, edible arrangements or?
So Fruit Bouquets is
Fruit
the
bouquets.
competitor to edible arrangements.
Okay. How is that? How, I know, because you have that demands of that, and you have concoctions.
The beauty in that is that their peak season is our slow season.
Okay.
So when we're really slow in the winter, that's when they get the most orders. So I've been doing that since November now. I still really haven't fully grasped the cycle and the seasonality of the business, but it really was. I started another business and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here thinking like, oh, this is great, extra income when we're slow. Next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole nother inventory. This is a whole nother distributor. This is a whole nother training. This is a whole nother business.
Right.
So what was the question? Sorry. Oh, honey.
It was just asking about how that works, and did they approach you?
Yeah, they approached me.
Okay.
That was God. God is good. I wasn't looking for that. These people literally emailed me, and I thought it was a scam. I was like, who is this? And why they want to come up in my business? And why they want my license? And so I called 1-800-Flowers, and I started asking about this man who was email. I said, is this a real person?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, this is us. And so it really was a blessing. I feel like I see ways that I can synergy. Ooh, is this a word? I'm trying to say synergistically. That's not a word. I'm making it. Y'all know what I'm trying to synergize now. I'm trying to synergize these two things. But I see ways that I can intertwine these two businesses. If it wasn't a right fit, I wouldn't have done it just on the money alone, even though it is really good for us financially. But yeah, it works out. It works out for us because of the seasonality of concoctions.
Right. So now I want to go back to my question of, how do you stay competitive in this rapidly evolving market, especially the bar, that's ever changing?
For me, I'm a big believer in identify your brand and stay in your lane. And I see so many people every day, like, I don't know who they are. I don't know what their brand is, because every day they just flip-flopping. One day they this, one day they that.
She's telling truth.
No, she understands. I know that, that's what it is, So for me, I think the best way to stay competitive is to research your brand and then just get really good at your brand. Right. I think sometimes we can compete and harm ourselves because we're so busy trying to copy and paste what worked for somebody else, and that's not your brand. You could just use that energy to build your brand.
Right. No, I love it, and it's the truth. Chef Deborah, thank you, Hyacinth.
You're welcome.
I couldn't breathe for a minute when she was talking because I wanted to say so much.
Well, now you got a couple minutes,
a
little minute to breathe. We're gonna go to commercial break, and we'll be right back.
I could feel her. I could feel it all. Yes, I could. Tell me what's your flavor.
If you're looking for mouth-watering eats and delectable treats, look no further. Eat local and visit the Sherman Phoenix today, where you can find everything from delicious organic wings and smoked barbecue to satisfyingly seasoned vegan food to sweet, buttery, made-to-order desserts. The Sherman Phoenix is also home to a day bar, serving mixed, frozen, and tropical drinks. Experience the Sherman Phoenix effect at 3536 West Fond du Lac Avenue, open Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Visit theshermanphoenix.com to learn more.
This is Martina Golan-Graves, President and CEO with Mental Health America of Wisconsin. I want to take a moment to remind you that your mental health matters. This time of year can be stressful, but we have programs and services committed to supporting our community. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping adults and kids live mentally healthier lives. We offer online screenings, outpatient therapy, and a peer-run warm line for support day and night. Call us today, 414-276-3122, or visit mhawisconsin.org to learn more about these services and more.
Brownstone Social Lounge, Milwaukee's premier downtown social lounge for good vibes, good music, and good food. Offers all-day happy hour every Tuesday and Wednesday. $6 wings, $8 flatbreads, drink specials, and more. Essential Tuesdays. All essential workers receive 10% off their purchase with proof of ID every Tuesday. Kickback with R&B karaoke Thursday beginning at 7 p.m., followed by Throwback Thursday. Brownstone Social Lounge. Great food, great drinks, fresh hookah, located at 524 North Water Street.
Hi, my name is Tamika Vukovic, Co-Executive Director of Wisconsin Voices. Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
Does owning a home seem out of reach? Let us help you outline the steps to get there. Join Columbia Savings and Loan Association and Port Washington State Bank for one of our home buying seminars on Friday, March 15th at 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. Learn about home buying steps for success, how banks look at credit, and discover grants and programs that could be available to you. Seating is limited. Register now at www.pwsb.bank/seminar. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS IDs 460-289 and 810969.
Milwaukee is back! The 11th annual Milwaukee Blues Festival, starring King George, Tucker, Pokey Bear, Lenny Williams, J1, and Fiona Seeley. You better stand up in Southern Soul Blues at its best. The 11th annual Milwaukee Blues Festival, Friday, April 19th at the Riverside Theater. King George, this train gonna keep on rolling. Tucker, Pokey Bear, they call me Pokey, Lenny Williams, J1, and Fiona Seeley. Tickets available at PAPsTheaterGroup.com. It's all part of the 2024 Blues is All of It Tour, presented by Heritage Entertainment. We just different. Hey, the blues is all right. Carter's Creations, when quality and service matters for any occasion. Sometimes you just want to send a floral arrangement for a get well, anniversary, birthday, or I messed up, or just because. Carter's Creations at 1727 West Hampton Avenue is the place you need to call. So call them today at 414-265-1727 or visit them online at carterscreations.com. Carter's Creations has been in business for over 30 years. Therefore, you know they know what they're doing. They also specialize in funerals as well. So when you need that special floral arrangement, think of Carter's Creations, when quality and service matters.
WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
What's your flavor? What's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor?
Now, back to Flavor Fix with your host, Samantha Star on 860 AM and 106.5 FM.
All right, we're back with Miss Hyacinth and Chef Deborah. We heard a little bit about Hyacinth's journey with Tropic and concoctions during the first half. Now we're going to hear from Miss Chef Deborah. For those of you who are just tuning in, you're listening to Flavor Fix on WNOV 860, 106.5 FM, The Voice. Chef Deborah, you want to tell us a little bit about your journey?
Journey.
And it's been one.
It's a
I
journey.
know.
27 years.
I know.
It's a long journey.
It is.
My journey, first of all, I did not want to cook. That was not something that I was thinking about doing. I was in social service for years and years and years. Social service is my background. And I had no desire to do that. I got married young. I had children young. Cooking was just a way to feed my family. It had absolutely nothing to do with a career or an intro to making a living. But I always wanted to do something very entrepreneurially. And I think that came from, I had opportunities to work with just some really, at the time, I don't know. I hope she's not listening, but then I hope she's listening. But I worked with some really dope Black women for pretty much of my career. So I was already set up for success. And that agency that I worked for was New Concept Self-Development Center. And so June Perry, Martin Perry, what's June Perry Stevens now?
Yep.
She was my executive director, and she was tough. But at the same time, she wanted us to be very successful as African American social workers. We were one of two in the city of Milwaukee. And when I started working with them, it was only 15 of us that worked for the organization. So we grew and to well over several hundreds of people. But the thing is that we weren't the typical social service mental health agency. When we would have our team meeting, she would sit back and ask you, think about, you're not going to do this forever. What would you want to do? Think about, if you had to create a business based on your personality, what would you call it? And I remember thinking, I would call it expressive. That's what I would call it, something expressive. So when I started a floral business, and throughout our agency, they used to let me make designs, and, I could use my hands and things like that. And then something, I had some things going on within my personal life that kind of led me to cooking, selling meals and things like that. And, during the food rage, when food TV came on the scene, it was almost like the right time for me to maybe go to school and, really think this through. Let me just kind of follow this passion. There was no one that looked like me, not in the city of Milwaukee. I don't know of not many Black restaurants were here. There were not many people that I could go to necessarily for, to mentor me. And so school was that. And then I found my way from that to working with a group called WCR, Women Chef and Restaurateurs. And that was a national membership for women chefs.
Okay.
And, women chefs only make up, now maybe, I think it makes up maybe 6.8% of the total women that, when they say chefs, those are women, those are the hierarchies of positioning. And maybe 70% is bakers or pastry chefs. It's easier on the time. They can go home, spend time with their children.
Yeah.
And then who wants to hire a woman? This is not a woman. This is not a woman's world. This is a male, white, French ran, toga hat, tilting. That's who started. That's who they respect. And so being a Black female, no way in the world would I wanted to get into a field where somebody treated me like I was some ancient mama sassafras without having degrees in front of my name or some experience or education. It just would never have happened. I definitely would not have considered that. So along the way, people always ask me, well, who do you work for? And that's the common question all the time. what restaurant do you work for? People walk up to me, see sign on the card, see my uniform. Who do you work for? And so it still hasn't, it's still not something that people have accepted.
Mm.
First of all, a woman being a chef, and second of all, her being Black. And so, I educate people all the time. And so one of the things was my name is long. It's Expressively Your Personal Chef Service by Chef DeBoer and Custom Catering. But that's the business side. But then out of what I wanted people to do is I wanted them to I want to respect you. I want you to respect me, just as you would call Dr. Johnson, Dr. Johnson, or Attorney Johnson, Attorney Johnson. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go with a 2-syllable name. It's gonna be Chef DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And so that's what people call me. And I've come to be known throughout Milwaukee as Chef DeBoer. Most people don't know the full name of my business. So it's been a long journey. I started off as a caterer, went through a divorce, business failed for a few years. I just thought, God, you have forsaken me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to start this all over again. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just got a phone call out of the clear blue sky. I thought it was a scam. I think I might ask my daughter, I want you to go with me because I might be getting ready to get kidnapped. This guy called me and he said, we're getting ready to start a magazine called Girlfriend's Health Guide for Women of Color. And we heard that you're a culinarian. You went to school. You have a background. We need a face that goes with this magazine. I said, this is a joke. And it was on Kings Drive, and Matthew Johnson used to write the magazine Y'all Heard in Gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was true. I didn't get, this. I was the face of this magazine and it was like health disparities. I went to school for cream and butter. Oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to, and the people, they wanted you to talk to the masses and tell them about healthy eating and eating vegetables. And I said, I got to go back to school. But that is what took my career to a different level. Because one of the things that I learned when I went to a WCR, Women Chef and Restaurateurs conference, they were starting to talk about personal chefing around the country. And that was another trend for women to do outside of working long hours in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's never going to happen in Milwaukee. Never, never, never will I be able to pull that off. But the interesting thing is that when I started, when I became the face of the Girlfriend's Health Guide, I had a different type of clientele. I was starting to build a clientele through the magazine because people get wowed over what they see on social media, what they see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used it to my advantage. And I continued to take classes. I continued to learn my craft. And I really wanted to be an expert when it came to health disparities. So I partnered with different health organizations around Milwaukee, the Heart Association, the Kidney Association, diabetes, Sisters. I think it was Sisters Without a Cause. It was a breast cancer program that at the time, her name will come to me in a minute because she helped me in my journey. But anyway, I used to, Lord, please let me remember her name. I used to participate and I would donate gift certificates to women who had just had breast cancer. I would go in their home and I would cook their meals because they were going through treatment. And that's what I would do. And so that's where the personal, I started to gain more inroads into that because of that. And so I learned a lot about breast cancer. I learned a lot about other health disparities. And so I was giving back. Coming from a non-for-profit background for years, I worked for a lot of different agencies. I can name a lot of them. I'm not going to do it because I've worked for a lot of social service agencies and I was the first in a lot of those. But, one of the things that associated me to even greater things by working with these health disparities, working with that magazine, was that I became the first, I'm going to say first female, first African-American, first chef to adopt a Milwaukee public school in the city of Milwaukee under Mrs. Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign. I was very proud of that. That was established in 2010, and they actually did a whole storyline. Black Nouveau did a whole storyline on me for that. So I'm very proud of those types of things. So it has been a very long journey. There has been some success through the journey. And I'm very pleased with my work. I'm very, very pleased. I don't think, again, this is not something that I wanted to do as a child. I didn't, but God, he put me in this pathway. And I think one of the reasons why is because when you know what your gifts are, I think, and if you know what your gifts are and you align those up, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you aligned your gifts up with your service work, you can earn income. It's a fact. And so my background as a social worker, when I think about food, clothing, and shelter as a hierarchy of need, it just was a natural fit. Everybody's got to have food.
Right.
Everybody's got to eat. So that was a natural fit for making an income. And then the thing is that the right, the professionalism, building your brand, having a good product is going to be their want. And so it makes it easy to be in this business. If I work within my gift and they want it, but the want has to be that everything that they desire, that I'm doing well. And that's my brand too.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, you you're a one woman show for the most part, but you do have staff that supports you.
Right.
What is your staff?
I'm the chef, owner, and operator. So I do run the day to day. There's 3 arms to my business. There's the personal chefing arm. There's the private chef where I go into people's homes and do dinner parties and events and things like that. And then there's the catering arm. So,
Okay.
and I have a large staff because I use everybody in my family.
Yeah.
And if need be, I do have people that I work for that own job temp agencies. I can always get a temp from them if I need be.
Okay. Okay. And I want to ask you, how do you stay competitive? And you've been around for a long time and you've seen a lot of change in this industry and you have a lot of regular clientele. So I want to hear your take on that.
Well, at this time in my life, I'm not price competitive anymore. I don't know if I ever really was, because I don't know anyone that was doing what exactly I was doing. In terms of what I'm doing is I'm more, I would say that I'm just very, what is the word I'm looking for? My competitiveness is not around pricing. My competitiveness is around the offerings of food that we offer, the type of service that we offer, and the experience that we bring to that. And so we have now we have a regular following of people. I mean, I would love to see more people provide a real personal chefing type of service. Milwaukee doesn't have a lot of personal chefs, and there's a need for that, whether people know it or not. There is a need. But you really do know how to tap. You have to know how to tap into that. And so, if I'm doing a dinner party, think about it. If you go and have 3 appetizers at Cooper's Hawk, what do you think you're going to pay with the cocktail? That's about $80. You've got to drive in your car and you've got to go to them and they're going to charge you $80 and you pay them a tip. And that's about $90.
Pretty much.
So competitiveness, I'm bringing everything to you. I'm bringing the wait staff to you. I'm bringing myself to you. I'm bringing everything to you. And so, the type of clients I have, by now they should know.
And how many regular clients do you have?
Well, it's very different because as with the personal chefing arm of the business, I have some clients I've had for 5 years regularly. I cook for them every week. There's some clients that I cook for every other week. it's really based on a person's budget. Some people,
Right.
I'll cook for them every other week, and I'll cook 10 meals, and they'll freeze 5, and then they'll eat 5. That type of thing.
Mhm.
There are some clients, I won't share their name because I do cook for a lot of uh, individuals that I would never share their name, but
Mhm.
it flexes all over the place. I might do 10 clients a week regularly. They might break off for a year, then they might call me and say, I want to do a dinner party. They're always my client. I never lose a client.
Right.
They come around, they send people to me, and so I would say that if in this type of work that I do with the arms, if somebody really looked into doing personal chefing, it can be it can be lucrative. And
Mhm.
this is something that in 27 years, I thank God for individuals who really want to build into brick and mortars. When I was in culinary school, and I'll never forget Mary Dass. I told her, I said, she was one of our procurement, marketing, hospitality instructors. I said, I do not ever want a brick and mortar. And I've
Yeah.
never desired it. And during the pandemic, when most of my brick and mortars suffered, we made so much money during the pandemic. I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Mm. Yeah.
So,
I could imagine.
yeah. And we had always been prepping food. So that was something that was very easy for us.
Mhm.
But it takes time. You're not going to make the money right away. You're not going to build a clientele right away. I would say to individuals, stop trying to copy what other people do. Find out what you're good at, what God has given you to do. And if you make that strong, you will make money. But
Mhm.
stop looking at what other people are doing and trying to copy them. Because
Mhm.
if it's not yours, you're going to lose it.
Mm.
You have to be. You can't listen. You can't be a dupe.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, personal chef service, when you're going, and I know this is
Mhm.
it's a range of how many people and all that matters,
Mhm.
but what does the staff piece look like for you? So if you're going into someone's home and they're hosting a dinner party
Mhm.
for, let's just say, 30 individuals,
Mhm.
what does that look like from
Okay.
from a staffing side? How many people are you taking with you?
Probably 3.
3.
Mhm.
Okay. And then they're helping in what areas?
There are certain people that can do certain things based on what their experience is.
Okay.
Typically, most people know that my one daughter, Tammy, she's going to supervise some things, and she's also going to lead the way for everyone else. She's pretty
Mhm.
much watching what they're doing. I
Right.
don't worry about back of the house. That's what I call it.
Mhm.
I don't worry about that. That's not what I'm doing.
Right.
And you've worked with me, I've worked with you. I'm back there because that's what I do.
Mhm.
And so my staff are trained to take care of the customer.
Mhm.
I had a client one time, he said, you're a great cook and I love your food. And a lot of people can cook. He said, but I'm going to tell you something. What I know about your business is that your staff are so professional and they're so
They are.
polite and they're so on point. And he said, that's how I know the type of business that you operate based on your staff.
Love it.
And I have a daughter, and we do get into it, but you'll never know it. She better not call in here. She better not call in. But I have taught her. Listen, she learned from her mother, and
Mhm.
she's operating her own business that she's had for 4 years, and it's service as well as she's operating a residential cleaning business. So, I mean, she's learned, and she still works for me.
Mhm. What do you enjoy the most about what you do and working in hospitality?
Well, as a I always call myself a restaurateur.
Mhm.
I'm off-premise restaurateur, but nevertheless, hospitality restaurateuring. What I like about it is it's part of my gift, so it's a very easy thing to do, and I can cook, and so that provides the want for the person, and those two together
Mhm.
afford me the opportunity to make money,
Mhm.
and I make a good living. I pay a good salary. I live good, but it took a long time.
Hey, cheers to that. Look, snaps to
Snap,
that.
snap, snap.
All right. So I want to know a little bit about your brand individually. If someone and even our listeners who have never heard of you, how would you describe your brand or your business?
Um, I I would say that the name of my business does really describe my brand.
Mhm.
Expressively your, and I want to talk about that your real quick. That your absolutely means that I work for you. Okay, and so e- everything that goes on with this process that we're going to go through to plan your event is all about you. So expressly your personal chef service and custom catering. So depending, it makes no difference what side it's on.
Mhm.
It is all about you. And so if we're going to book an event of some sort, and I want listeners to hear this, when you come to anyone, it doesn't even have to be me, anyone, come to them letting them know honestly and true what you have in your pocketbook. Don't come and ask someone, what do you charge? You know, you might want to, after you've told them what you want as part of your menu, and the thing is that you should be prepared when the person says to you, if I say to you, this is what can you afford to pay per person?
Mhm.
Then be prepared to answer that. Don't tell me I don't know, because you do know. You know how much money you have in your pocketbook. And if you are not going to be honest, then we're not going to be able to collaborate together, because this is your event. I'm servicing you. So it's a collaboration. Expressly your personal chef service. That's a collaboration. I personally work for you.
Yep.
And that's my brand. It's always been the same. It's never changed. It's never wavered. And it's the same way even when I prep your food. It's if I prep when I'm prepping your meals for the week, if I'm doing an in-house private event, or if I'm catering a larger event, it's all the same.
Love it. What about you, Hyacinth?
um, so for concoctions, I would say, we do frozen blended drinks that could be made with or without liquor. You could take it to go,
Mm.
which I fought very hard for that. Shout out to Women's History Month. I fought very, very hard for that.
Right.
And shouldn't have had to, but I did. So that's concoctions. And I really, to me, concoctions is about having fun and being
Mm.
inclusive. I know that's a big words that corporations love to use now. D&I and include everybody. But concoctions was really born from the need to include everybody, because when I was back to when I told you I started the business because I wanted to entertain at home. There were a lot of times where some of my friends couldn't drink. They were either pregnant or, somebody injured themselves once and was taking pain pills. They couldn't drink, so I had friends come over and at times they couldn't drink. And I'm like, I don't want them to be sitting there with a lemonade or a water or
Right.
cranberry juice. So I wanted everybody to be able to have the option to have a really great cocktail, whether they're drinking or not. So that's concoctions. And since then, that business has evolved into kids slush and slime parties, which is something that nobody is doing. You're not going to find that, my daughter's 26, but I had some little kids around me once and they wanted slime. And I'm like, in here in this house? Absolutely not.
Right.
So I was like, how are parents dealing with this? They can let these kids bring this slime in the house. So we take all that off the parents' table, and then we do mix and sip mixology classes as well. So concoctions has really evolved into other things over the years, and the fruit bouquet partnership as well. Tropic, that is a labor of love kind of. Shout out to tech support. Concoctions.
I'm trying to hear, and there's something in my ear.
I know. I'm trying to focus as well. So Tropic is just really kind of points back to what I was saying before about my parents being really big entertainers, and it's me paying homage to my father, who is no longer here, who was a huge influence in my life from a culinary perspective. My father taught me how to cook, and my first memories are of him cooking. So, just being able to share a little bit of my culture with Milwaukee. I know everybody, people love Jamaican food. It's made its print here in the city, but I think that, we're doing it in such a way where it's a little bit more universal, and we still have those authentic things like our jerk wings and our rum punch, which we make from scratch. But for me, Tropic is just about elevation. Me personally, I pre me being in this role, I wasn't a big go outer. And a big reason for that is because I would go out and I didn't I was not having a good time when I went out. For me, I would much rather go to a fine dining restaurant and spend, $300-400 on good food and good drink. And that would be my night out versus going out to a club or a lounge. And for me, Tropic was about like getting rid of those things that I didn't like. I didn't like the loud music. I would go out with people and have a whole conversation and wouldn't know what in the world we talked about when I got home. I was just nodding my head the whole time, like, girl, yeah, ooh, didn't even know what we were talking about because I was screaming over people all the time. Yeah. The plastic cups, I'm sorry, shade or no shade. I'm not pointing out nobody individually. I'm not in y'all establishments, but I know that the plastic cups, I'm sorry, I'm a woman of a particular age. Don't give me no plastic cup unless there's some grass under my feet. Okay. If I'm out spending money, put my drink in a glass, so we really pride ourselves on that. And it's not an easy thing to do. I see why so many places don't, like if I'm being 100% honest, us doing that, taking that extra step in the what we do, it's extra work, so I see why a lot of places are like, solo cups, but I really wanted to elevate that experience. So, those are some of our value propositions, when you come to Tropic,
right?
Sorry, if you're looking for the trap turn up and all of that's just, this is not the place for you, but everything has its place. There's times when you want to turn up and there's times when you just want to go out with your girlfriend and have a deep conversation about what dude did, what I'm saying? So come to Tropic, you can have that conversation. You're going to have that classy experience with cocktails that, we do this. And I used to really water myself down with that, where, I was like, I don't want nobody to feel no way. No, we make these drinks and they know, I've been doing this a long time and we work really hard to train our staff. Some of the stories I hear, how people are trained or not trained, I should say, that explains why, we have to just elevate ourselves with drinks. And some people don't care about that. And that's okay. Some people just want a vodka and cranberry. They don't care about no well-mixed drink, and that's okay
and
too.
that is,
But when you're looking for that specialty cocktail, if you have friends that don't drink, we have a whole mocktail list, and it's not just one or two things. We have a whole mocktail
I
list.
love how the mocktails are really just evolving everywhere you go. It's more and more mocktail creations. So yeah,
we need that.
We do need it. All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back to talk a little bit more behind the scenes on Flavor Fix.
What's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor?
Time for new flavor. Yeah.
Cuisine, located at 2215 North MLK Drive. Dive into our lunch menu packed with mouth-watering starters like our famous pepper pot jerk rolls, refreshing salads, and signature rice bowls, bursting with Caribbean flair. But the fun doesn't stop there. Join us for our happy hour from 5 until 8 p.m. every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, featuring irresistible food and drink specials. Don't miss out on the ultimate Jamaican dining experience at Pepper Pot, where you come hungry and you leave happy. For more information, please call 414-509-5206.
If you're looking for mouth-watering eats and delectable treats, look no further. Eat local and visit the Sherman Phoenix today, where you can find everything from delicious organic wings and smoked barbecue to satisfyingly seasoned vegan food to sweet, buttery, made-to-order desserts. The Sherman Phoenix is also home to a day bar, serving mixed, frozen, and tropical drinks. Experience the Sherman Phoenix effect at 3536 West Fond du Lac Avenue, open Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Visit theshermanphoenix.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Sandra Silk, inviting you to tune in to All That Jazz. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday. Enjoy jazz from yesterday and today, from 5 till 8 p.m. right here on 860 WNOV 106.5 FM, The Voice.
Hi, Hi there, I'm Deslyn Smith, the Executive Director of United Garden Homes Incorporated, the proud sponsor of the Nayumbu Opendo Show, broadcasting on WNOV on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Poverty, illicit behaviors, drug abuse, and addiction have been affecting the quality of life for decades, not only in the Garden Homes neighborhood, but within disenfranchised communities throughout our country. United Garden Homes Incorporated is a neighborhood association-based nonprofit organization committed to supporting individuals and families to see beyond their current situation by way of education in mental health, substance misuse, and violence prevention, as well as with the utilization of resource advocacy to empower and promote healing in our community. For more information, contact United Garden Homes Incorporated at 414-554-5538 or via email at info@ughinc.org.
Whether you're a seasoned chef or a food enthusiast, you've tuned into the perfect frequency. This is Flavor Fix with Samantha Starr, where the aroma of freshly baked ideas meets the sizzle of exciting culinary conversations. Join us as we journey through the world of flavors, bringing you savory stories, delectable recipes, and the hottest culinary trends. Catch Flavor Fix on Mondays from 5 to 7 right here on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM The Voice.
What's your flavor? What's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor?
Now, back to Flavor Fix with your host, Samantha Starr on 860 AM and 106.5 FM.
All right, we're back on Flavor Fix. I have Hyacinth Nimhart here and Chef Deborah. How y'all feeling?
Fantastic still.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Shout out to Women's History Month.
Yes.
So you know I had to throw in one of those questions because I want to celebrate women's history, and I have two awesome industry vets here. So I have to ask, what unique perspectives or strengths do you believe women bring to the world of hospitality?
Women are nurturers. I think that I keep talking to you, but I need to be talking here, and I need to be, but I'm talking to you. But I hope you can hear me. But women are nurturers. I think that's a big plus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when women are really in their groove in any type of work that they do, when they know that they know, then I think their contribution is more solid. But in this particular industry, it can be, it definitely can be challenging, and it can have some levels of frustration.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to stay steadfast, and you have to stand on. You can't, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. We are women. We are going to be emotional. It is who we are. We cannot be men. We are women.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to have some level of balance. And especially when it comes to your business, you have to maintain your cool. Get the right people that you can play things off on. Have some, there's not a lot of mentors anymore because I don't even have time to mentor. I'm gonna have to charge you if I mentor you. But the thing is that you need to have the right people in your circle that you can, and it needs to be people that have some levels of maturity that you can talk to and play off on, because this is it's a hard work, and not just in culinary and business period, but this is a hard work. It's a lot of hours. I'm taking magnesium now just to relax my muscles. Mm-hmm. It's a hard work. And so, and you have to prepare yourself and women in this work, they have the children, If they're married, they still have a lot of responsibility for the children. If they're single, they have responsibility if they have children, or they're the nurturers or the matriarchs of the family. And so they already have a lot of other work that they're doing. But this is an area that's for women. It definitely is. There's women all around the country that are doing some great things. And they're speaking that I'm African American, I usually talk to my sisters, we can do it too, but we need to find out what we don't know. We need to actually know what we need to know. And we need to get really skilled in our craft, so that we can be the best that we can be and offer the best service that we can offer.
Thank you, Chef. Hyacinth, what comes to mind for you as far as unique perspectives and strengths that women bring to the hospitality industry?
I like what Chef said about the nurturing because I talked a little bit about like anticipating people's needs, and I think that's very inherently something that women, mothers, that's just what we do.
Mhm.
But I think also, and this might seem minute, but I think women bring a level of organization to especially the hospitality industry. It's imperative to be
Mhm.
organized, for service to run smoothly, for your staff to know what they're doing. And I really take a lot of pride in that, in how I run my businesses, just making sure that things are organized. It makes my life easier, but it makes my
Mhm.
team's life easier, which ultimately transfers to the customer.
Yeah. And while we're there, I want to ask, how do you set boundaries between work and your personal life to ensure that you have time for self-care? I know Mondays are your self-care Mondays. How do you make sure, and how do you, stick to that plan so that you can go back into the week refueled and energized?
I love that you know that. Even when you asked me to do the show, you were like, "I know Monday's your self care Monday." I'm like, "You for you, I'm there."
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's letting people know.
Mhm.
So many people that I do business with now. It used to be like this little hidden secret where I felt like, okay, Monday I'm gonna go off and be up by myself, and I'm just not gonna answer the phone. And then it felt like I was hiding from people all day.
Mhm.
Who were, and I said, this is ridiculous. I'm not relaxing because I'm sitting here hiding from people who are looking for me, who don't know that Monday is my
Yeah.
self-care Monday. So
Yeah.
I just start putting it out there, like my email, you're gonna get an automatic bounce back on Monday. Not responding, sorry, and I tell people it's my self-care Monday because I want to normalize that. Like
Mhm.
nobody can do everything all day every day. It's just
Right.
not possible. You can't pour from an empty cup. So I'm just really big on putting it out there for people to know, and
Mhm.
you'll be surprised that people respect it. Just how we know that
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A ain't open on Sunday, you ain't going. You
Yeah.
ain't looking for it. It's closed.
Mhm.
I'm closed on Monday. Don't ask me for nothing.
Right.
If you get a response, consider yourself lucky, because Monday I'm shutting
Mhm.
it down. And now I'm working on not feeling guilty about it, because there were many a
Absolutely.
times where I would be, having a nice, what should be a relaxing bubble bath with my face mask on, and I'm sitting there wondering what email I didn't respond to, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not even. I don't care on Monday, and you got to give yourself the permission to disconnect.
Yeah. Chef, anything you want to add to that?
She's good.
She is.
Yeah, she's good. I take some time, but I'm not quite that good. I work a lot of hours. I work a lot of hours, and but when I do break away, I break away. And I feel a little bad about it. I do. Like if I decide that I'm just not going to cook for all these families on Christmas, and I'm going to spend time with my family,
Mhm.
you know, or I'm, I'm going to cook. No, this Thanksgiving I didn't spend time with my family. I cooked for all these
Mhm.
families, and all I did was sleep. But there are times when I do things for myself, but they're sporadic. They're not set up like the way Highness is. She's got her stuff structured. It's not quite like that for me.
Mhm.
But I do get my time. I definitely have my, although in this industry I shouldn't be wearing polish, I wear gloves. But I do keep my nails done. I'm very feminine. I'm a very feminine woman. So I
Oh
do keep my
yes.
nails done, and I do cover my hands with gloves. But I do that every 2 weeks. I even consider going to the chiropractor as my own time, because
Oh yes.
yeah.
We
Do you
got
think
because
so?
we gotta do
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
gotta be
Yeah,
able to
I
move
go
around.
Exactly.
going to the chiropractor, going to the massage therapist, but actually having appointments, setting those appointments in advance, and then staying on track with that. And yeah. So
Yeah, you
that's-
are quite the fashionista too.
Oh yeah, I love.
Shout out to her walk-in closet if you ever see.
It's ridiculous.
It's impressive.
It's ridiculous.
It's very impressive. All right, I want to get into some fun stuff. So,
Okay.
what are some of the most memorable culinary experiences that you've had while traveling? Anything come to mind?
Traveling. For my 38th birthday, I went to Jamaica, and people who know me know I travel alone a lot, and I have no problem with it. I love it. And I went to Jamaica, and when I checked in the hotel, I remember they had a little thing at the desk, and it was like a romantic dinner on the beach, lobster, and I'm like, can this be for one? But I can still have both dinner plates. And they thought they must have thought I was the most pathetic woman in the world. Meanwhile, back in my hotel room, I'm getting dressed like you would have thought I had a something fine to go to dinner with, honey. They set that table up for me on that beach. And when I tell you that was one of probably the most memorable culinary experience I ever had. Of course I've had food better places, but it was it was amazing because that lobster came right out the water. And it was the whole, it was the experience. It was the water crashing up, around me, the candle. It was a beautiful moment, even by myself. So I would say that would be my most memorable traveling.
Have to see about that. I have never asked to do it because I always feel like they're gonna say, "Oh, it needs to be 2 people."
Girl, you can eat that other plate.
Oh, I definitely can. I definitely can. Anything come to mind for you, Chef?
No, not exactly. That I can.
Or
think
what
of.
about in Milwaukee?
Not exactly. For me, I don't always have the time.
Right.
But I do go places from time to time. One of the reasons that I do like to have that experiment, because you want to continue to evolve your palate, learn new flavors and things like that, and pick up new trends and ideas, and then add on to what you have. But I love dim sum because I don't even know if they do this anymore. I don't know if the school offers it, but we had field placements, and so I spent X amount of weeks in working with different Asian groups. And so Asia and Africa, they're in cousin continents. And so a lot of my merging of foods is Asian and African flavors. And so I love dim sum. And there is a place in Chicago the last time I was there that I went to, and it's and so for me, I don't eat any I don't eat crab, I don't eat lobster. I'm not allergic to it. I just don't eat it anymore. I used to eat it years ago. That's why I said what I said. And there's a lot of things I don't eat. It's everything I cook, but it's a lot of things I don't eat. And so it's this place in Chicago, I think it's called Shanghai Terrace, and downtown Chicago. And they have dim sum. They serve it at lunchtime. They bring out, you come from the list, and then you pick from the list, and then they bring out 10 or 12 different little plates of dim sum, and you just sit there like you are just crazy hungry, and you have all these little tiny plates of food, and it's just absolutely, it's all fresh, it's absolutely delicious. So and if I'm trying to get those flavors, those Asian flavors, they have so many different flavors, the gingers and things like that. So yeah, and I like to add and layer flavors quite a bit. So yeah, that's one place I can think of. But yeah.
So is there anything on your bucket list as far as like continuous learning, travel, achievements? Anything come to mind?
I love old school steakhouses. And I think about like Goodfellas and the scene in Copacabana, and you're talking about the white tablecloth with the little lamp. If I would ever continue in this world, I probably would do a very high-end, classy steakhouse.
Chicago used to have a lot of those. Many years
ago.
ago.
I'm talking old school, where they come and they
with
toss the
waiters,
salad at the table, at the table like that. So yeah, that's something that I would think would like be next level for me.
Well, I do have a goal to extend my brand. And I want to talk a lot about it. I talk a lot about it, but it is incorporating mentorship.
Okay.
And it's incorporating making money.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to go hand in hand. And so that's something that I've been working on, I'd say about a year now. And it actually has a name, and it actually has, the idea had not had a name yet, but now I do have a name for it. And so that's something that'll be coming eventually, because there's a great need for continuous education. And believe it or not, once you go to culinary school, that's it. Unless you work in a restaurant, you work up under a chef. If you start doing independent things, you're solo. You need a mentor or something like that.
Absolutely.
I continually get recertified for a personal fitness chef every 2 years. I just got recertified. So every 2 years, and you have to seek out and try to find different training platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's what you want, because when you work by yourself, you've got to reach out to other people because there's other things to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You can't learn by yourself. Actually, there's a couple people I want to call, and I want to actually go in their restaurant and just sit up under them and just free flow in their kitchen.
Yeah.
I do. I want to do that because that's continuous learning. And so, in order to really uphold the name Chef Deborah, I have to continuously learn because I am working alone. And that's the difference. That is the one difference when you work in a restaurant, unless you work in a restaurant alone. There's some people work in a restaurant alone too. And if that's the case, you have to have that continuous learning. And if you're a caterer or whatever, you want to have that mentorship continuously. So yeah, that's something that I've got planned. Been planning it for a minute.
I can't wait to learn more.
I know.
And you said you were working on it for about a year.
I've been
now?
working on it for longer. It had a purpose, and I actually wanted to offer it at the school, but then they would be paying me. That's not entrepreneurship. Not if I would be paying being paid an hourly salary. That's not entrepreneurship. And I would be giving them my program.
Oh, okay.
So it's not gonna work like that. Yeah. So we've come to we figured it out.
Okay.
2024.
Well, hey. You figured it out.
We figured it out.
That's the key.
We figured it out.
So who has been a key influence in your journey? And this can be, someone you know or don't know, but someone who has inspired you along the way. And it could be multiple people. Who comes to mind? Anyone?
I would say definitely my mom, rest your soul. Everything I do for you. I do because I feel like you deserve for me to be better because of you. But I think about Matthew Johnson because that phone call that he made to me in 2005 or 6, it saved my whole life because I was a very depressed woman after my divorce. It was a very tough time. And then I always have to give honor to June Perry. Always have to give a big honor to Thelma Sias. Thelma Sias is if you hear me, Thelma, you crazy. But Thelma, it's so unselfishly,
I love Thelma,
offered everything she had. She introduced me to all these people. I would have never met the White House if it had not been for her. I would have never met 5 congresswomen. I would have never met New York mayors' wives and states. I would have never met these people had she not been so gracious to include me in that. And that's another thing. That's a mentor. That's somebody I could look up to, not somebody that I got to pull up. When you're constantly pulling people up, you're going this way, back and forth, back and forth. But when somebody is reaching down to you and you're pulling up, you're going to rise up. And that's what she did for me. She absolutely did that for me. And June Perry, as hard as she was on her managers, had she not made us stay that night to 9 o'clock to learn how to manage that budget, I wouldn't, before I knew how to use a POS system, before I had a POS system, I was doing everything myself, but I never made not one mistake because this woman drilled managing your departments, which now I manage my budgets and my invoices and things like that. And so yeah, absolutely, those people there. That is the people that I have to thank. And then the people that work for me and support me and my family. And most of them are the ones that work for me, and they support me. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Those
you for
people.
sharing that.
Mhm.
Hyacinth, you got something?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I'm being honest.
Mhm.
In this part of my life, no, I didn't have people that showed me the way, or I didn't have people that were like, "Oh, you're so great, let's help you." Like, I didn't have that. I just
Yeah.
didn't. And I'm just being honest. This is a very lonely
Mm.
life, and if I was going to give a shout out to anybody, I won't name them, but they know who they are. It would be the people who tried to hurt me. Honestly, like I was already me, but they ignited things in me and put me in a place to go and do things that I probably never would have did, if they wouldn't have done what they did. So I say that to say, not to be doom and gloom, but I'm just a realist. I just don't believe in sugarcoating and sprinkles on everything to make it sound right. At the end of the day, I did this very much by myself. And I would love to say that there were people there who really, pushed me up and supported me, but it's been quite the opposite. From family to friends to people who I thought were, nice and, associates even. That all changes when you start doing certain things. And it's a very tough pill to swallow. So for me, I just really try to use that to help other people who come to me. Like I had a young lady reach out to me the other day. I don't know her from a can of paint, but she wrote me in Facebook and she was like, I need help. My business needs help and nobody will help me. And I was like, I'll help you. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Like I'm not like that. I want to turn whatever, the things that I didn't have into, I'm not going to allow that to stop me from helping other people. But the truth is, like, inspiration wise, there was really nobody. Like there was nobody. Sorry. Not sorry.
Right. Hey, and that's real. That's the truth. Everybody's journey is different. And so thank you for sharing that. I want to go a little bit behind the scenes and learn some of the ins and outs. And Chef Deborah, I want you to talk a little bit about a typical client interaction process from like the initial inquiry to service and what that looks like. What are those steps for the people who are not familiar with the world of a personal chef service?
Okay. I know you think I'm just like, I'm really I want it to be academical.
Okay.
Kind of academical. So it seems, so I'm going to give you a good one.
Very concise.
Person calls and, or emails. Most times it's email. People don't like to talk to people anymore. We're in the world of email. Okay. So email, you email me and we begin the process and, you're having a dinner party. No, you're having an event for 100 people. And the event is maybe a birthday party or something like that. And so the main thing that I want to do, the first thing I want to do is I want to find out if you're serious, because time is very, very important. And so the first thing that I want to know is, do you have any idea of what you want to? We have to talk about money. This is a business. I'm not a non-for-profit. I am for profit. But I need to know what you want in terms of pricing and what you want to put on those plates. And so that's the first thing we have to talk about. So then after we've gotten that all narrowed down and we agree, and then what we do, the next step is that I set a 72-hour courtesy. I pencil you in, and then you have to make a deposit. Now I can work with you. It depends on how much it is. If it's a large, you know, if
Mhm.
it's a large invoice, we can spread it out over 4 payments or something like that. But you've got to make a down payment,
Mhm.
and then you've got a date, and then from that point on, we begin to
Yours is 72 hours.
72.
I give 7 days. I need to tighten up.
I give 72 hours. And the reason why is I'm a small business. I
Yeah.
don't know. Big businesses, they may not give anything. They may,
Mhm.
you know, they may not even entertain you at all until you bring them a deposit. They
Mhm.
may have forgotten about you, but I don't want to disrespect anyone.
Mhm.
We had a conversation, 72 hours,
Mhm.
and then you make your deposit. We start to you know, I'm the next thing I'm doing once I've got a deposit, then I can secure staff. I don't even talk to my staff. I don't even try to build a staff until, because my staff are W-9s. At the
Mhm.
end of the year, they're going to get a 1099. They have
Mhm.
other jobs. They have other things. And when they tell me, Chef, I have this date penciled in, that means that this person is looking at earning money for that day. And if we can't play games, because people have families to take care of and things
Mhm.
like that. And so in my invoice, you're going to see my service fee. You're going to see tax. Yes, I whether you live in another county of Milwaukee, of Wisconsin, I do business in Milwaukee, and I'm going to charge you 7.9%. I'm just saying that, people,
Mm.
that's what I have to charge. And then there's going to be a service fee, and then there's actually going to be the fee for my staff. We don't do anything less than 4 hours, and then I build in how many hours we have to be there from start to finish.
Mhm.
The invoice is very detailed. Another thing that I don't do is and I let the client know up front, I do not bag up or pack up leftovers. It's a safe serve issue. If you want that liability, you have to sign a waiver.
Mhm.
And my insurance company who insures me knows that I make you sign a waiver, or the food gets tossed. And
Mm.
that's something that we agree upon at the very beginning. There is no stone unturned.
Okay.
We've discussed everything. Typically, I'd say 97% of my clients don't complain about anything. I have good clients.
Because
God
they got
bless 'em.
everything laid out.
Everything's laid out.
I want to learn a little bit about your process of the arrangements that you make. How does that process look in the midst of running the day to day of concoctions?
I thought you was gonna ask about travel. Like, come on now, Sam. You know, you come and you sit down, you order a drink, you drink. That's
No,
what happens.
I was gonna. I got you. I got you.
You know how that goes. Concoctions with the fruit bouquet. So the process with that is we have a website
Mhm.
that is controlled. It's like the back end of 1-800-Flowers. So when the customers go online and they order whatever they order, it shows up in the website in a queue.
Okay.
And we manage to that queue. So
Mhm.
the orders come in, we print off what's called a super ticket. It has the order on one side, the other side has the people's cards, you know, whatever they're
Mhm.
saying to the person,
Mhm.
the address card that goes on the bouquet. And then we just put them in order of date. So everything is just put in obviously most recent, to because sometimes we have orders that are 2-3 weeks in the
Mhm.
future.
Mm.
And then what we do is we look at whatever we have for the next day. We create a cut sheet. So basically we put in what orders we have, what the arrangements are, and the spreadsheet automatically tells us you need 5 cantaloupe, you need 2 pineapples, you need. So I then we have a distributor
I was
that we
gonna
call.
ask. Okay.
In the beginning, now I wasn't doing that. I was so all
Okay.
over the place. I'm running to freaking Restaurant Depot,
Yeah,
Fresh
yeah.
Time, whoever trying to find out who got the best strawberries today. It was a disaster. That first month, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just flying by the seat of my pants. And now we have a distributor, so we just call. We can call the morning of, and they deliver all the fruit to us that day.
Okay.
The young lady comes to work. She has her cut sheet. She makes her arrangements. She packages them up, and then DoorDash comes and picks them up.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I'll deliver if it's in the immediate area. If I'm like, okay, you know, if it's in my neighborhood, because
Right.
a lot of times it's people in my building or 2 doors down. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I'll deliver
Yeah.
that one. But
Wow.
other than that, all DoorDash picks everything up for us.
And about how many are going out a day?
It can be anywhere from 3 to 10.
Okay. That's a good range, especially starting out.
No, it's
No,
not, because
it's
it's very
not?
unpredictable. We
Okay.
don't, so
If you
that's
don't really know.
yeah, that's the hard part of it is,
Yeah.
luckily with our fruit, it's fresh. We get it,
Mm-hmm.
we get it every day.
Okay.
But it's very hard. Like sometimes, thank God, I have a great team member, and she's very committed to the business. She comes in early. Like she'll look and be like, "Oh, hi, son, we got 7 orders. I'm coming in 2 hours early," and she
Right.
wants to do that. So,
Mhm.
thank God for her. But it's very unpredictable every day. It's great to
Yeah.
see those orders in the queue, but at the same time, sometimes I've gotten up in the morning and checked that queue, and it completely changes my day because I'm like,
Right.
okay, I got to get up there. She can't do all this by herself. So I'm looking to hire at least 2 more people because I want to take myself out of that element. I didn't know how this business was. I was very much just learning it. It really was another business, and I just didn't even look at it that way. I was just looking at it like, we gonna do a couple bouquets,
Yeah.
supplement the income, it's gonna be good.
Right.
I
A
got
whole
into
different.
that. I was like, oh my goodness, this is another beast. So,
Yeah.
and they're giving me more. Like now they just started, now they want us to sell these frozen confections. So like cheesecake bites and that's a
Okay.
whole thing. Like they come to us already done, but there's a lot of paperwork involved in that. You got to do temp checks, and
Mhm.
so it's more work, but it's good. It's gonna be good for business. But yeah, it's a lot.
It
It's you
sounds
got to be
demanding.
operationally sound.
Yeah, for sure, and organized.
Mhm.
So, how much time goes into perfecting your cocktails and mocktails between both entities? And how much in on a second part 2, how often are you looking to create new drinks
Mhm.
and mocktails?
So we do new drinks every season. So every
Okay.
quarter, there's new drinks, and then there's the one-off. So if we have Valentine's Day, that's gonna
Mhm.
trigger a drink. If we St. Patrick's Day, that triggers a drink.
Mhm.
There's a lot that goes into it on our end behind the scenes. So my daughter and I, we meet every Tuesday, and she wanted to take over the drink creation. So
Mm.
I don't really do much with that. Now I might send her things that I see them like, okay, this is good. Let's find, let's go down this direction.
Right.
But she's really coming up with those. And she thought when she first started it, she was like, oh, okay, my mom want me to make a drink. We're gonna roll it out Friday. I'm gonna start it on Tuesday. I'm like, no, honey, you need like 2 months lead time on this. There's so
Oh.
many things that have to go into it. We need to find what the right liquor. We need to find the distributor and make sure we can get that it's available. And then,
Right.
is there a case deal? Now we got to add it to the menu. That's a picture that needs to be taken. It has to go into Clover. The team needs to be trained on. Like,
That's
it
a
is
real
not,
process.
yeah, it is not just throw this on the menu. And I mean, there was a drink that we were working on, and I went through probably 3 different versions of it before I came up with what it actually ultimately looked like. Because and I'm looking at the vessel, what kind of cup is it going in, what kind of glass we got to order these glass, so it's not a easy
Right.
process.
Right.
Concoction's a little easier because we got 3 different sizes. It's plastic
Yeah.
cups. They all going in the same vessel. I just need to,
Mhm.
and then usually with that, I just get, I'll go to my distributors and get samples and things from there, give me stuff to work with, and I'll just play around with it until I come up with something. And that's really, concoctions is so much easier. I took for
Yeah.
granted that business. I don't know if it's because I've been doing it longer, like that. I can, with the right team in place, that's an autopilot. I can put that on and set it and forget it. Tropic is a whole nother
How long
situation.
have you owned concoctions? It seems like forever. How long have you owned that?
It's been
So
a while.
2006, I was 26.
Wow.
I don't know what they was thinking, giving me no business loan at 26. I didn't know what I was doing back then. I made so many mistakes. I know what not to do now, because I did everything I wasn't supposed to do because I was so young. I think about my daughter having a business by herself right now without
Yeah.
me, without anybody, just do it. That's crazy to me. And I was married. I think about that the other day. I was like, I can't believe I married somebody at 26. What was I
Wow.
thinking?
Yeah.
No shade on him. I'm just saying, like, I'm so young, So yeah, I've been doing concoctions since 2006.
Wow.
43.
That's been a long time.
That's
yeah.
a long time.
So, Chef, and we talked a little bit about your regular clients and kind of, we didn't do a deep dive into managing them on the day to day, but what goes into prepping for those regular clients that you have weekly or every other week? what does that
okay.
process look
Because
like?
the word manage, I don't, that's I yeah. Okay. So I have a process that when I get a new client or a potential client, I don't just cook for when I'm doing personal chefing. I don't just cook for the client because they said, "Oh, come up with something or prepare this meal." They have to complete a profile.
Okay.
There has to be a profile completed, and that profile identifies all allergies. And then again, I'm a personal fitness chef, so I will recommend that if you have an illness and it's your nutritionist is recommending that you lower your your carbs, or you lower your what is your glucose level. Let me have that sheet so I can attach. Are you allergic to this? So it's detailed, and I know people often don't want to complete it, but it's a life saving, because I know one of my delivery people, and we deliver our own food. We don't have any service. Anybody that delivers food from Expressively or Personal Chef Service, they work for us. And so they know the menu. They go over the menu before they take it out, and one time we had a person who was on blood thinners, and the delivery person was reading off. She was talking to her, "How are you doing, Miss So-and-so, so-and-so, so." And so she said, well, this is your menu. It sounds like a really good menu this week. And she was reading off the menu to her. And she said, "I can't eat that. I'm on blood thinners." And she said, "Oh my God." And she called me immediately. She said, "We're going to have to replace this food." So I said, "Well, she can throw away what she can't eat, and then we'll replace it was usually mostly the vegetables." So, so that's a real big plus in that. But that's what we get. Those are done once. If you're seeing a doctor on a regular basis and your medical history changes, you've got to let me know, because I've got to update your profile.
Right.
And if you get sick, I'm not held responsible for that. And that's the purpose of the profile. It goes back to liabilities. Because when you get licensed, that's the Department of Family and Children. That is that, you're taking a person's life in your hands when you're preparing food, whether you're doing it in a restaurant or where you're doing off premise. No matter where you're doing it, it's really putting people's lives in danger, especially if you don't prepare the food correctly. So then the next step is that we do the profile. We have that's new clients, and then because of that profile, I'll know exactly what you can eat on a rotation. I create new menus every single week. Some people, they can eat the same food. Some people cannot. I've got some clients where the husband is a vegan, the daughter's a pescatarian, the wife is sometimes eats beef, and the mother-in-law eats everything.
Wow.
So that's
that's a unique.
That's all those different people that I have to cook for. So food has to be prepped. I also have to have labels created from the menus. So it's a lot of work that goes into that. And if you look at the pricing, which is going to go up in a couple months, it is cheaper than going to getting your food and having it door dashed, because the containers, the delivery person, the food is all inclusive. And our food is delicious. It's healthy. It's prepared that day. It's not prepared the day before. Everything is prepared. We start early in the morning, and everything is
what
prepared.
Time, Chef?
Oh, it's time. It's time. I remember before I had breast cancer in 2019. I could start work as early as 2:00, 3:00 in the morning. Maybe I only had 5 or 6 hours sleep. But I wasn't balancing, and I've really learned to do a lot better. So I came up with a system that if you took 5 or 7 meals, most people don't do 7 meals in a week, your delivery is on a Monday. If you do 4 meals for the week, your delivery is on Tuesday. And if you do 3 meals for a week, your delivery is on Wednesday. I typically do not do Thursday and Friday. I'll leave those open for private events or catering. Yeah.
That's a good balance.
That's how we do it.
That's how you roll. So, are there any popular food or menu items that people are always asking for on your menu? I know one of my favorites on your menu.
I wish somebody could call in and tell us what it is, because they all gonna say the same thing.
I know. Don't nobody be calling me like that on here.
They don't call.
Everybody be like, we just be listening and
They need to call.
They're listening on their phone.
They need to call. They need to call. But
I love the kale salad that you have, and that's your salmon.
The salmon,
of course.
Isn't that something? That salmon is a fluke. That was we had to make a sauce at school, and we had to make our own sauce. And I made the sauce, and I had it for a salad, and then I started using the sauce because I wanted our people to eat fish. Believe it or not, when I started cooking, a lot of African Americans didn't eat salmon. They didn't eat seafood. They made crab and shrimp, lobster, but they didn't eat fish. If they did, it was just catfish.
Okay.
Or they'd eat maybe a little perch or something like that. But to expand, and give them, and whitefish is just, salmon's whitefish, believe it or not. It's pink or orange in hue, but that's a whitefish and it's affordable. So the thing is that I created that sauce so that kids would like it and eat. Most kids like honey mustard, and they could dip their vegetables in it. Just to get people to eat good salmon, or to eat good whitefish, or to eat good, so I use it on a lot of things. I marinated it's really about the marinade of the sauce. And so people love my honey mustard, basil, Parmesan crusted salmon. I won my award at Battle of the Chefs with that.
Yeah.
And people will ask me to make that all the time. I actually get sick of making it because they want me to make it all the time, but it's a blessing. That is something that's a plate staple of ours.
Yeah.
That particular salmon.
Oh, it's another thing that I love is the apple or cranberry chutney.
You like that? You never told me you like that.
I do, but it's a cheat. It's a cheat meal for me because I can't do the cream cheese.
Oh, okay.
Technically.
Okay.
But I made an exception for it because it was so good.
I usually do it around the holidays.
Yeah. Yep. I love that too.
Thank you.
What you got, Hyacinth? What are some favorites on your menu? You can give me some from both places or focus on Tropic, however you want to do it.
I love the jerk wings, but I don't like eating them, especially when I'm there, because the pepper from the seasoning that we use, it loves my teeth. Okay. And I can't tell you how many times I've eaten a jerk wing and to be rolling around, smiling in everybody's face, talking to y'all, and don't nobody tell me that my daughter be like, Ma, you got a big all jerk seasoning in your teeth.
I've never seen it.
Now I want some.
Now I'll pay attention.
Yeah, I want some of
So
that.
it's definitely the jerk wings. But I think my new favorite would probably be our jerk nachos. I love them. They're just different. They're a different spin on nachos. So jerk ground beef. We use white queso, banana peppers, green onion, scallions, which is something. I mean, I grew up eating scallions. Jamaicans put onion and tomato on everything.
Yes.
But then there's these things called little sweet red pepper jobs. You ever heard of those before? And they just like little tiny red balls.
Yes.
And I never had these before. And to be honest, I don't even know where I found these, to be honest. But I was trying to add some color, and I didn't want to use tomatoes because A, lot of people don't use tomatoes. B, they're gonna go bad, and I'm always thinking about throwing things away. So this comes in a brine, kind of similar to how a banana pepper is, but it is sweet, it's tangy, it's just this little pop. It's very unexpected, and back to my tasting parties back in the day. Anybody used to come to my house for my tasting parties, I used to always do something different. Yeah. So I would do familiar things, but I always have this one thing where I wanted it to be a flavor experience that people never had before. Because, we love to eat what we familiar with and, turn our nose up to something that we've never seen before. So the jerk nachos to me is just kind of my little nod to try something new.
Some of those.
I do too.
And people see them. They're one of those things they come out. People are like, what's that? What's that? And yeah. It's good.
So what days do you have that at the restaurant?
Oh, the menu's the same every day.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go get some
We're going to have
jerk
to get some of that.
Yeah, the jerk
our next
nachos.
food day.
Yes.
What about drinks?
What's a good drink to go with the nacho?
Oh, yeah. Come on, pairing.
I mean, your favorite, Samantha.
The Marley Margarita.
Yes, that's Sam's favorite. I think that goes really good with the jerk nachos. But my daughter she is so into lemon drops. and she has perfected our lemon drop. We can do it strawberry, wild berry, but I love just our classic lemon drop.
Yeah.
We rim it with brown sugar, like
yeah, the brown sugar.
coarse brown sugar. But yeah, our lemon drops are very popular. So Sunday, $7. Sexy
Oh,
Sundays.
now that's inexpensive.
And half off wings on Sundays too.
I'm chef, like I gotta get out.
Get people what they want.
I can taste when she described it. I know exactly what it tastes like.
Speaking
Yeah.
of taste,
Yes.
what are some, I guess, tips or techniques when it comes to like layering flavors and creating flavors? Like what type of thought process going to that? Are you really just taking stuff, mixing and see how it works? Are you studying, what flavor combinations work well with each other? Because you have a lot of flavors. You do too on your menu. What does that look like? I'm always interested in how where that inspiration comes from for putting certain flavor combinations together.
It's for me, if you've got to either experiment or you do have to try other types of food. You have to try other cultures. I mean, if I make Jamaican food, it's inspired. I'm sure yours is a little bit more authentic because of your dad. And so I have to make sure that I got to taste things. And so you have to just take a chance, and and over time you begin to pair different things that work together. You play around with a lot of different seasonings. Everything is not just salt and pepper and garlic powder and onion powder. I mean, that's
the holy grail of seasoning.
You got to do more than that.
You do.
You really have to expand, mix and match and things like that. I add marmalades to my barbecue sauce, and then I add, there's a jalapeno pepper that I use, that I incorporate with shallots, and I let it cook for a long period of time, and I make a bad baby back rib. My baby back rib. Have you had my baby back ribs?
Well, I don't eat pork.
Oh, that's right. Okay. My baby back ribs
Debo does.
It's something else. They are delicious. They are absolutely delicious. But again, playing around with you gotta, play around with things. So yeah.
The chiropractor.
I'll give you the information.
So tell me, how do you stay motivated and inspired in an environment that demands long hours, hard work? How do you keep that fuel?
That's easy for me. That's an easy answer. It's definitely my faith, me trusting in God and where He led me. And I know so many people are like, I've had people say to me, "Oh, how can you say that? And you sell liquor?" And I think that's so ridiculous. God can trust me where I'm at. And I know there's so many people. I tell people this all the time, but specifically concoctions, that's something else. But Tropic, for me, I just really truly believe that God opened that door for me. I wasn't even trying to do that. And I'm very confident in that. So for me, I know that God can trust me with that because I'm not a drinker. Like people are always so surprised by that. People always come in here trying to buy me shots, and I'm like, I don't really drink like that. I'm a wine person, and of course I drink the drinks to taste them, but for me, you're not gonna just catch me in there throwing back shots. That's just not who I am, and I think that's very important in what I do, because I have to be on point and paying attention to so many different things. But for me, I know where God has me, and I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this chapter of my life. And there's nobody there to cheerlead for me. You know what I'm saying? Like most people have a husband or, business partners. At the end of the day, when there's something wrong, it's me. When something goes great, I'm celebrating by myself, so you have to have something. And for me, it's just God. I just trust the process. I trust what I'm going through. I trust when it's up. I trust when it's down. And I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. So, It's not like you got a boss that's like, hey, great job today, and you better get up and go to this training today. You got to get up and you got to want it. You got to want to know, you got to want to feed your mind. I've been through so many different cohorts, and people are like, why are you doing that? You already got the business. You don't need. No, that's where you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Mentorship
So for me, it's definitely just continuing to feed myself. But there's no way that I could work the hours that I work and do the things that I do if I didn't love what I did. Because like I said earlier, it's a lonely place. People think entrepreneurship, they think it's this big, like, moment at the Oscars. Like, no, you have got to be ready to work, and you better have some mental agility, because that's the first thing that's going to attack you in this process, is in your mind, when things aren't what you thought they were going to be, when the money is down and it should be up, or the bill, they want their money and they don't care if you had a slow week. You got to get in there. You got to be willing to deal with all of that, the good and the bad. So it's just, I just stay grounded in my relationship with God, and that's it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, speaking of God, and this is something that I do, and I share this regularly with people. One of the things that I do before every event that I do, I always pray and ask God, if you're going to bring me home, wait until I finish this event. I don't want to owe nobody nothing. I've always said that. Number two, I always pray for my manna. That's biblical. I pray that God will throw his manna down on me. That's how I make my living, is that he takes care of me through his manna. When he threw manna from the sky, it was food for the people. That's my income. I always tell my daughter, I said, when she tells me after she's worked, and my daughter cleans people's homes, and then she'll find time for an event and say, I got you. And so I thank God for that. But, being that I'm was in the social service field, and we had mission statements and things like that. My mission statement says that my goal for my customer is that I allow them to be a guest at their event. So my goal is for me to make sure that I provide that service to them so that they're happy and pleased, and that they will pass on my name to someone else. And that's my manna. And that I will continue to manifest, because I do like making money. I do like replenishing my special room with my special things in it. And I do like being able to do things for my family. And I do like having a savings. And I do like paying my bills on time. And so, again, you have to trust. If you don't trust in God for your manna, you are done for. So I really do. That's it. I mean, and I never feel like I'm going to fail. That's another thing. I mean, that might sound, it's taken years to feel that way, but he shows you every time. Since 2006, he's showing you're not going to fail. It's just not going to happen as long as you keep him first. Yeah. And so absolutely. That's the focus right there.
Okay. Can I get an amen?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll pass the offering plate up in here. So I want to hear fun fact.
Fun fact.
Industry secret, or something most people wouldn't guess, behind the scenes in this industry, or something that you want to share. It could be a piece of advice also.
Fun fact. I can't think. I bypassed that when I was asked. Fun fact. What is a fun fact?
You got anything, Hyacinth?
While she's thinking. Business or
business?
About
yeah, the industry, business, or even a piece of advice, or just something you want to drop to listeners who might be.
Yeah, definitely the piece of advice. So I would say that, pointing back to something I already said, is that mental agility. If you're thinking about getting into business, I don't care what industry it is, what field you're going into, you have got to be mentally strong for this. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Nobody's going to tell you that. Nobody's going to tell you that. Ladies, if you single, stay single. I'm telling you that right now, because it's very hard to do this with a man there. I'm just keeping it real. And that's been my experience. And I've seen it with other people too.
Oh,
It's hard.
Lord.
It's hard to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nobody gonna have a man.
We done lost hope.
Oh, we done lost
Listen,
hope.
all that, all that, oh, you can have it all. Good luck. Okay. Because the man gonna want you to be a certain way at home and to fall in line with all that. And guess what? I'm very traditional in that way. I grew up in a very traditional household with those roles. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you chasing this dream, you better clear that plate off so you can focus on what it is that you're doing, because this is a male dominated industry. And trust me, you already have to fight against all these men in the industry who looking at you like, what does she know? You know what I'm saying? So you got that, and it's just very hard to have that relationship. Now, if you got a husband, I'm not saying throw your husband away, but I'm saying that, you got to have a conversation and make sure he understands what you signing up for. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a different life. Entrepreneurship is a different beast than going to work and coming home. And the difference is when you come home, you can shut all that out. When you're an entrepreneur, you ain't shutting out nothing. And people think it's this big misconception of, oh, you get your own life and you get to make your own schedule. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might get to a point where you might have a self-care Monday, but guess what? If that phone rings and I got a call today from somebody who wanted a catering order, a very big caterer. You think that I said, oh, self-care Monday? No, I got on that computer and self-care Monday was out the window. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a theory. I would love it to be that way. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like people have to be very realistic about what they signing up for. It's not let me get a logo and a business card and I'm an entrepreneur. No, anybody can do that. Anybody can get an LLC. I'm talking about running the day-to-day operations of a business, and you start factoring in employees and taxes and distributors and you name it. This is not easy. So I tell people all the time to get yourself mentally prepared before you step into this world.
What you got?
I don't have anything other than I was just trying to think what kind of man I would want that would work the best. It would probably be somebody that was just an entrepreneur. He worked just as hard as me. Then we come together on that what Monday you call it?
Self-care Monday, Chef.
Self-care Monday. That's the only thing I can think of.
Let me know when you find it. Send me one too.
That's the only way. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, he had to be an entrepreneur.
No,
yeah.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
And that didn't work for me either.
Yeah,
so let's just keep it real.
Yeah. But I don't have any. I think that we talked about a lot of different things within the topics, I think that I think that if that's something you want to do, try it. Nothing hurts a failure but a try. And the thing is that you're gonna fail. That's life. You just fall down and you get back up, and you fall down and you get back up. And and I'm thinking about, and I've got to give a shout out to my oldest daughter. I have a daughter who's deaf, and her name is Shanetta. And my daughter attends MATC. She's in a culinary program. And she's probably one of the first African-American females that's a student at MATC. She probably graduates probably another couple months. She just got a letter today that she's going to be on the honor roll. She goes to school every day. She has an interpreter. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But to see the service work spread throughout my family, all the people in my family pretty much work in the hospitality restaurant industry. They're either wait staff, or I got a grandson, he cooks, he runs a whole kitchen. So to see my oldest daughter, who was born deaf, get an honor, she's going to be on the honor roll. When she walks across and puts that shawl over her neck, it will be with honors, because she has worked so hard. I'm thrilled. I had to say that. I had to give her a shout out.
Of course. Yeah. So. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure talking with you. Flavor Fix, we will be back next week, and I'll be joined by Chef Justin Carlisle of Ardent and Kishori Bogle of Cocoa Tree Confectionery. And I am so excited to have them on. We'll be back next week on WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM, The Voice. See y'all later.
Bye.
What's your flavor? What's your flavor? No. Tell me what's your flavor?
Time for new flavor. Yeah.
What's your flavor? What's your flavor? No. Tell me what's your flavor?
Time for new flavor. Yeah.
You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
You might not ever get rich, but let me tell you, it's better than digging a ditch. There ain't no telling who you might be, a movie star, or maybe even a Indian chief. Working at the car wash, working at the car wash, yeah. Come on and sing it with me, car wash. Sing it with the feeling now, car wash, yeah. Come some of the work gets kinda hard, and this ain't no place to be if you plan on being a star. Let me tell you, it's always cool, and the boss don't mind sometimes if you act the fool at the car wash. Whoa, 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 whoa. Talking about the car wash, yeah. Come on, y'all, and sing it for me, car wash. Woo, woo, woo. Car wash, yeah. Work and work. Well, those cars never seem to stop coming. Work and work. Keep those bags and machines humming. Work and work. My fingers to the bone. Work. If I can't wait till it's time to go home.
Hey, get your car washed today.
Fill up and you don't have to pay. Come on and give us a play.
Give us right away. Like car wash.
Talking about the car wash.
Car wash, yeah.
Come on, y'all, and sing it with me. Car wash. Sing it with feeling, y'all.
Car wash, yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Those cars never seem to stop coming. What I say, keep those flags and machines humming. Let me tell you, it's always cool. Don't mind sometimes if you the food at the car wash. Working at the car wash. Yeah. Car wash. Talking about the car wash. Yeah.
Much more.